everyone, I'm Kate Andrews, and here's a look at what is going on this week in the news. We begin from the Vatican. If you're looking for love, Pope Francis says don't watch soap operas. During the morning Mass, January 9th in the Doma Sancta Martha, His Holiness said that Christian love is generous and real, not dramatic like what is seen on TV. Rome Reports has more on the Pope's words of wisdom.
During his daily morning Mass at the Vatican, Pope Francis described Christianity as something concrete that requires action and not just words. Reflecting on a reading from St. John, he said the love found in Christianity is unique.
Ma guardate che l'amore di cui parla Giovanni non è l'amore delle telenovele, no, è un'altra cosa. L'amore cristiano ha una qualità sempre, la concretezza. L'amore cristiano è concreto. Lo stesso Gesù, quando parla dell'amore, ci parla di cose concrete. Dare da mangiare agli affamati, visitare gli ammalati, tante cose concrete. L'amore è concreto, la concretezza cristiana.
The Pope then added that just like St. John says, God is love, and those who remain in love remain in God, and God remains in them.
Staying with news from the Vatican, Pope Francis held his first general audience of 2014 on Wednesday. During the audience, he started a new series of talks on catechesis of the sacraments, beginning with baptism. He said that the sacrament gives people unwavering hope and the strength to forgive and love others. The Pope said that baptism allows us to live a new life in communion with God and our brothers and sisters. Before his audience, during the Pope's drive around the square, he spotted his friend Father Fabian Baez of Buenos Aires in the crowd and invited him on to the Pope-mobile. Father Baez said later that when the Pope invited him on the Pope-mobile, he felt as if the Pope was inviting all priests to be near the people and all people to lift their hearts to the Lord. After the audience, the Pope spent nearly 2 hours greeting and blessing people in the square. In news from around the country, the names and files of 30 Chicago Archdiocese priests accused of abusing minors will be released this month. In a letter to be published January 12th in parish bulletins, Chicago Cardinal Francis George announced that the release of the documents by lawyers representing those who have brought claims of past abuse was done in cooperation with the Archdiocese. None of the 30 men named are currently serving in ministry. Most are deceased or have been laicized, and the names have been listed on the Archdiocese website for several years. Though most of the cases are decades old, Cardinal George said that the Archdiocese is trying to help those affected and work to ensure that this does not happen again. In news from Washington, though the United States prides itself on the separation of church and state, there is no doubt that the Catholic Church has a prominent place in public life with its many social services. Archbishop Joseph Kurtz, president of the USCCB, recently spoke about the importance of the Catholic Church working with the United States government.
Faith enriches public life. And so naturally, there's a great desire on the part of the Bishops' Conference to have a good and healthy relationship with the administration, as well as with Congress, and of course, with the Supreme Court and the legal parts of government. In a special way, I think we need to always look for opportunities, don't we? And so that's going to be very important. One good thing about the Bishops' Conference is our efforts to speak on behalf of the voiceless and the vulnerable puts us in a position to potentially do great good. So all the efforts that we're making, for example, with immigration reform, the efforts with reaching out to the poor, to having a robust and a common sense religious liberty, as well as obviously the protection of the dignity of the human person in the womb and after birth. All of these things, as we reach out to help the quality of life of women, men, children, preborn, as well as the very elderly and poor.
Finally, in news from Malaysia, Jesuit Father Lawrence Andrew, editor of the Catholic Herald, is under investigation for saying that Allah would continue to be used in Malay-language Masses in Selangor, Malaysia, because it is the Arabic word for God. In November, the Sultan of Selangor, who is also the head of Islam in the state, said only Muslims may use the word Allah. Father Andrew's remarks were published by the news portal Malaysian Insider January 7th. The next day, he was questioned on the Sedition Act by police after they received dozens of complaints about his remarks. The country's 1948 Sedition Act is designed to prevent acts of discontent, resistance, or rebellion against the government, and includes as an offense uttering any seditious words. In October, an appeals court ruled the Catholic Herald could not use the word Allah because use of the word is not an integral part of Christianity, and it causes confusion in the community. Kuala Lumpur Archbishop Murphy Pakayam, the paper's publisher, said the church would appeal the ruling. Well, that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kate Andrews, and don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.